You're tuning into A Wake Up Call, which is your weekly dose of purpose packed with science-backed tools to beat burnout and boost happiness.
Hosted by us, Tess Brower and 7-time world champion Layne Beachley.
We're the founders of Awake Academy. This podcast mixes raw life lessons, expert wisdom, and practical tips
to help you stop sleepwalking through life and start living it on your terms.
You ready to wake up and thrive?
Let's go.
I don't think I believed it.
Yeah.
I didn't believe that it was possible to enjoy my life again.
Yeah, wow. And what made you believe it?
I realised that all of it was going to be hard. And I had to decide which one was harder. That day at your house was so transformative for me because you and Holly both indulged me running a workshop.
Wasn't an indulgence for us because we saw in you what you weren't willing to see within yourself, yeah? Welcome to our first episode of A Wake Up Call. I'm Layne Beachley, and sitting opposite me here is my dear friend, my business partner, my soulmate, one of my greatest inspirations, Tess Brower.
Hello, everyone. What a way to start.
Yeah. What you just heard was a very honest, raw, and real conversation, the kind of conversations that you and I love having, because we are doing this work knowing that as we get to know ourselves and grow ourselves, we can help people heal themselves. And we're always looking for that inner healing.
Yeah. And it was a wake-up call that caused my inner healing.
Yeah.
And we realized that so many people are having these mini wake-up calls all the time if they're willing to listen to it. Or it's a huge wake-up call, like a injury, illness for you, someone dying, or just something significant in their lives happening that they realize that there's got to be a better way. So a wake-up call is about helping you find a better way because it helped us.
Can you take us back to that conversation and the wake-up call that you experienced and the impact that had on your life at the time?
Yeah. And I have to say that I'm going to shortcut my story because we want this to be an impactful podcast that you can listen to on your way to work, and you can get that or just at home, but you get a daily dose of inspiration that you can apply to your life quickly. If you want to know more, you can read our book. Listening to that audio that was played just then is a moment that was only captured maybe a few months ago. And when I hear that, I go instantly back to that moment in your kitchen. And I met Layne when I was the head of partnerships at Virgin Australia, and I had a job that was the key to the city. And like weekends for me were coaches boxes, front row fashion festivals, signing multi-million-dollar sponsorship deals, or orchestrating the back end of that, of really big, significant business movements that I was privy to.
And then I walk into your office seeking sponsorship for my charity foundation called Aim for the Stars.
Tiny little charity.
Can I have a few flights for a few girls coming from around the country? You save us thousands.
Meanwhile, I'm in the middle of negotiating the Australian Football League sponsorship with Virgin Australia. But hey, and Layne walked in.
And the last thing you wanted to do was drop that to come and meet me.
I was used to it. It was called a CEO special. But
God bless good CEOs.
Yeah. And at that point, I was fine. I was the corporate warrior who could do anything. And I remember you walked into the office and you just lit up my life. It was like this angel had just walked in. And I had met a lot of significant business people, sportsmen, superstars, all the rest of it, but something clicked with you and I went, click.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah, Layne can't click. You'll get to know this about her. And all you wanted was a few flights, but what you were really doing was helping people live their dreams and giving them their first check because someone gave you your first check.
$3,000 is all it took to change my life, and I just wanted to shortcut the struggle and help women do the same.
Yeah, and someone said to you, I believe in you, go get that world title.
Yeah.
Little did I know that I would be that person on the hands and knees asking you for help.
Yeah.
But I didn't actually ask you for help. I was like, I feel like because I met Holly Ransom as well through Virgin. I booked her to host Richard Branson at a Virgin event. So I've got pretty significant business women that I was connected to, but we all just formed a really good friendship. On your kitchen table, I sat there and I thought, my life is absolutely over. So I had moved to Switzerland for a dream job, and I had a skiing accident which caused a spinal cord injury, which I ignored. Now, you would think that a wake-up call for me would be loss of feeling in my legs, wetting my pants at work, going to go get a new pair of pants so that I could continue working, or losing feeling in my hands, not remembering how to turn my computer on and off, cracking headaches, falling asleep all of the time. Like, not a normal person who wasn't in absolute burnout and a need to prove themselves would take themselves to hospital, but I ignored and suppressed all of those symptoms until I couldn't go on anymore.
And went to Dr. Google to diagnose yourself.
Yeah. And
how did that go? What did Dr. Google give you?
Anxiety, go home. And I knew something was wrong. And I meet so many people who intuitively know that something's wrong in their lives, but they're too afraid to go there. So our intent is about a mental moment in your life where you go, I can't do this anymore. I remember lying there at the time. So I got readmitted to hospital because it was obvious it wasn't MS and it wasn't anxiety. It was something more serious. And I spent a week in hospital ignoring my family.
You were in Geneva though?
Yeah. I was ignoring them because I didn't want to tell them what was wrong with me.
Why not?
Shame.
Shame of what? Like,
shame that I had ruined my life and that I was coming home and I hadn't achieved anything that I set out to. And I wanted to bury my head in sand and make it all go away.
So just through not communicating with your family?
Yeah, it was the easiest way. And I can relate to moments in my life where I have done that just on an everyday because I don't want to face what was going on in my life. And you'll hear our stories today. And as listeners, we encourage you to focus on our similarities, not our differences. And that is the way you'll get the most out of this podcast is when we talk about trauma, injury, illness, world titles, just relate these back to big moments in your life or
big challenges, big roller coaster rides.
Yeah, or whatever that may be, because that truly is our intent, is that you learn with us and through us so that you don't land up in a hospital bed in Geneva, isolated, alone and getting lumbar punctured by junior French doctors, a story we will go to another time.
Were they good looking?
I don't remember.
I'm sure you don't.
I just know that they missed my spinal cord and had to go again. Anyways, for me, I was ignoring those tiny little everyday moments probably my whole life. And as I've done this work, I've unpacked that I have been ignoring them my whole life. Fortunately or unfortunately enough, it resulted me flat on my back in Geneva. And I remember being wheeled down to the radiologist for one more MRI. And the French-speaking radiologist said to me, "You hit your head?" And I said, "Yeah, I hit my head. And he said, "You have a spinal cord injury. You need emergency surgery." And that was, the whole world just fell apart underneath me. And they gave my mum 24 hours to get over to Switzerland, rolled me in for one surgery. I was in hospital for a couple of weeks and went home to Australia for what I thought was a 6 to 8 week recovery, but nothing was improving. In fact, I was getting worse, and I went back for emergency surgery and woke up in a spinal ward. And what is the hardest part of that is the guilt and the shame that I had sabotaged my body and I hadn't listened, and I pushed it away because I wasn't deserving of care, or I didn't need that. That's not going to happen to me. I'm absolutely bulletproof.
Yeah, and someone else needs that care more than me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was 3 months in a spinal ward, and I walked out at 32
years of age.
Yes. I walked out at 32 years of age with no home, no car, no money, no clothes, nothing, and under psychiatric care of my parents, whilst all of my friends were getting married, second babies,
buying houses,
living all of that, those life. Pivotal moments of life. And there I was sitting on the floor with no labels. I was no longer test from virgin. I didn't even have a phone. It was absolute rock bottom. And I thought to myself, my life is over. The funny thing about that moment is I still meet people who have all of those things that I wanted, the car, the home, the marriage, the kids, and they still feel trapped or lost or isolated in there. So I feel like I relate to those people so much because I had to rebuild my way out. So when I take myself back to that kitchen to book club, I said to you guys as part of my therapy, I was like, maybe I could host a workshop with some of the stuff that I've learned. And you guys indulged me in that. I don't know whether you got anything out of it, but I remember.
Anything out of indulging you to help host this workshop?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you brought so much value and so much gold.
Yeah.
And you brought skill sets that I didn't have
Yeah.
that I really desperately needed. But what was really interesting about that conversation is we had to help you get out of your self-doubt that you could actually possibly do this, because prior to that, you were defined by all the labels of your
job.
Well, also of your discharging out of the hospital. Like, you presented me with this long list of ailments that you were going to be living with for the rest of your life. And I know Holly, who has much greater compassion than I do, she received it and went, oh my gosh, like, you poor thing, and gave you a big hug. And how did I respond?
Well, this is a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
If you believe this, it will ruin your life. Now, the truth is I knew that if I believed this, not at a medical diagnosis is a diagnosis.
Yeah.
And there's medical miracles all the time, but these are the things that your body is presented with. Now, I still am presented with some of those things, a lot of them actually, but you were saying if I subscribe to these, then they will destroy your life.
Yeah.
If you believe that you are broken and,
if you allow yourself to be defined by this list of diagnosis, then your life is over.
Yeah. And you said to me, I've got a workshop in 2 weeks. I haven't sold any tickets.
Well, I've sold a few.
No, you hadn't put it on sale yet.
I had sold a few. I'm sure I had.
You'd privately maybe sold a few tables, but it wasn't online yet.
No, it wasn't.
And you had an idea of how you wanted to put the content together.
That you still hadn't.
Yeah. And you needed someone to help you. And you said, you're going to help me. And I said, I can't even use my hands. Like, I don't even have a computer. I am broken. This is not Tess from Virgin anymore. And you said, no, you are. And that was the $3,000 check. But it was greater than that.
Yeah.
You put out your hand and said, no, I believe in you. I see something in you that you don't see in yourself. And I trust you.
I got you.
And that was the greatest wake-up call that I could have. And that moment was like, even when you can't believe it in yourself, someone believes it in you. And that's what you did for me. And here we are, a book deal later, inspiring thousands of lives, a business that works with some of the biggest businesses in Australia and the world, helping people help themselves. And I just think about that moment, like, what if you didn't put out your hand?
Yeah.
Who would I be? But I remember in that you were pretty broken at that time too.
I was a little depleted, yes.
And in that workshop, now that I reflect on it, I did a life stock take of your life.
Yep. Yeah, right before that workshop. Actually, no, after the workshop. Because when we hosted that workshop, I mean, I saw you standing at the front of that room helping people be centered and grounded, and I just saw someone that was so fragile standing at that front of that room and so in need of the work in which she was sharing with others herself. And I just wanted to wrap you up, but I realized that wasn't going to support your growth.
No.
Handing out you, like holding the space for you to grow and holding the space for you to be challenged, presenting a safe space for you to step into and go, I believe in you. I see you. You've got this. It's time for you to step out of that cocoon and that belief that everything's broken and your life's fucked and nothing's worth living for, and stepping into the test that I saw within you. That filled me with a sense of pride and satisfaction, because I saw that was your moment where you're like, okay, I no longer subscribe to this. I have to keep moving forward. And I acknowledge that there's aspects of me that aren't functioning properly, but I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. And I felt like you reflected to me the people that I needed in my life at that point.
Yeah.
And I had a big medical team. I was going to 15 different appointments a week, from like OT, physio, neurologists. I was in hydro pools.
You name it, you were doing it.
I was doing it. And I was also in other modalities, kinesiology, psychotherapy. My psychiatrist is still my psychiatrist today. I was medicated. I was all of these things to get better, but I wasn't actually in practice of that. I was just the human doing of all of those things. And when you said that to me, I was like, I need to cut all my therapists down. I need to find one or two and just focus on that, because I was so relentless in trying to fix myself. And what you said is, you're not broken.
Yes.
You just need to find yourself again.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you helped me do the week after, whereas we went back into the office.
Funny how the world works.
Isn't it? We went back into the office and you went, all right, I'm, really good at strategy and structure. Let's get a stock take of where you're at within your life. And here I was traveling the world, 180 days a year, giving over 65 talks a year around the world about sustainable success and how sustainable it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't sharing that bit. I was telling people what to do, but actually I was being a hypocrite.
And that was a huge wake-up call for you, and something that we check ourselves on all the time is like, are we walking the talk?
Yeah.
And I remember I said, how busy were you on a world tour?
Yeah.
Like on a surf tour. And we worked out that you were busier now than you were on it winning the world title.
The whole reason I retired was to surf more, spend more time at home, be with Kirk more often, probably in that order. And I just wasn't doing that. In actual fact, I was more burnt out, more exhausted and more depleted. And I had convinced myself that that was okay and that I was fine. Yeah.
And it was Kirk that pulled you up on it.
Yeah.
Second to me. You often find that wake-up calls don't just come from one person. It's like once the door opens, you start seeing it everywhere.
Yeah. Well, you've got to let the light seep in.
Yeah. What did Kirk say to you?
Why do I always get the broken Layne? Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was another wake-up call, because when you asked me, what is it that you want to do? I was like, well, I'd love to write another book. And you're like, do you have the content? I said, yeah, I do. But you know what? Writing doesn't light me up. So what else do
a course?
Yeah. Let's build an online course. I wanted to digitize myself and I wanted to expand the message and help people help themselves. So that has culminated in what we call Awake Academy, and empowering 1 million people to thrive, to help themselves and make the world a happier, healthier, more purposeful place. So
the beauty of Awake Academy and what we our intent to bring you is lived and learned life experiences backed by science and tools. Now, I'm an A-type, so of course I had to learn the science and the research behind everything to give you guys the right tools and the tips. So I'm now a practitioner of positive psychology and wellbeing, which is really important because it means that this stuff works. And it's not, people say to me, what is the work? Like, well, there's many different modalities that we'll pull into this podcast and what we do in our courses. But part of the work is that you have accountability partners. So consider this podcast part of your accountability partners, part of your dream team that can give you that little bit of inspiration that you need at any moment in your day, because let's face it, we're all going through our own wake-up calls every single day. And then the last bit is tools.
Yes. So let's talk about those tools, shall we?
If you were in a rut, if you were broken on the floor, or if something doesn't feel right, I like to say you're standing on the nail.
Oh, yes.
And you know that something is wrong in your life, that things don't feel necessarily right and you want to make the changes. We work with executives, and someone said to me the other day, I have a fear of missing out in my own life because I'm not present in it. And that resonates so deeply. So wherever you are at, what is the similarity in that? And do a life stock take. So we'll provide these in the show notes, but we like to say around health, family or friends, like how are you connecting, your mindset, your energy, and your work.
Yeah. They're the 5 areas of your life that you need to take a stock take in. And what we mean by that is rate each one of those areas out of 10. 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. So when you think about your relationship with family and friends, do you even remember who they are? Do you make the time for them? When it comes to your energy, do you
Were you present with them as well?
Exactly.
Yeah.
When it comes to your energy, do you rely on stimulants to wake you up and sedatives to get back to sleep every night?
I've been there.
When it comes to work, are you all work and no play? Are you work at home? Are you work at work? Are you work on weekends? That's a 0. When it comes to your health and well-being, are you the kind of person that just manages to get through the week or just manages to get through to that next holiday, and then you crash and burn on the first week of the holiday? You recover on the second week and come home and need a holiday from the holiday.
Oof. I'm exhausted just listening to you. I need a holiday.
So take an honest stock take of where you're at in these 5 areas of your life, because it's through that honesty and that connection that's where you're empowered to now instigate change.
Yeah. Of all of those 5,
Yes.
I want to ask the listener right now, which one is the most important? Is it family? Is it mindset? Is it energy? Is it work? Or is it health and well-being? A, B, C, D. And the winner is?
Well, if you want to know the winner, you're going to have to come into the show notes. No, I'm kidding. The winner is actually energy. If you don't have the energy to do all the things that you love, then you can't maintain a positive mindset. You can't prioritize your health and well-being. You don't show up and be present for your friends and family. You're exhausted and depleted at work as well. So your energy is the one thing that you really need to start prioritizing. And there's 3 really simple things that you can do to boost your energy that you can actually start doing right now.
And what are they?
Number 1, drink some water. We underestimate the importance of water.
We do.
Trust your thirst, it's there for a reason. But if you wake up feeling hungry, that's actually an indication, unless you're on a really deep fasting diet, that you're dehydrated. And dehydration can lead to all sorts of health complications. You've got headaches, migraines, cognitive malfunction. If you just can't concentrate and focus, drink more water. It helps you eliminate toxins, increase your cognitive function, and actually lose weight because it suppresses your appetite.
Yeah, and you're walking all the time going to the toilet.
Exactly. You're moving a whole lot more now.
I'm still in my coffee era, of course. I'm waking up very early with a toddler. So I have a glass of water with a cracked bit of Celtic sea salt, and then I have a coffee. So that's my commitment to myself.
Good job. So that's
all right, number 2.
Number 2 is sunshine.
I love sunshine.
Get a little bit more sunshine onto your skin. It is a mood booster. It lowers your blood pressure. It elevates your happiness and your serotonin, all your bliss chemicals, and it just makes you feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I get enough sunshine.
You do.
It's an occupational hazard.
Yeah. And for the people saying if it's raining right now, just get outside, take a few deep breaths of fresh air. We like to say it's like charging your battery.
Yeah. I'm solar powered.
Yeah. What's number 3?
Yeah. Look, this is a really popular conversation right now, but number 3 in my eyes, which has had the most positive impact in my life, is protein. Especially going through menopause. I was tired of being tired, and I realized that I was depleting my body of protein, which fuels my energy, fuels my cells, fuels my muscles, and helps me keep moving for longer and being stronger. So protein in our diet for me comes from having protein smoothies in the morning, from plant-based protein powders. I'm not a massive fan of whey, but
yeah,
up to you.
Do your own protein.
Do you? Eggs, lean meats, sustainably caught fish, vegetable proteins like tempeh and tofu, but just getting more protein into your diet. Because I found, especially as being an athlete, but also out of being an athlete now, is that if I have...
You're now a corporate athlete, by the way, as much as you don't want to be it.
I don't speak corporate. I don't dress corporate. I don't even understand corporate. I've worked maybe a day in an office in my life, and that's for a reason. I'm unemployable by choice. But if you have a sugar crash or a craving or an energy crash at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that's an indication that you have deprived yourself of protein first thing in the morning.
So you used to fast. What have you noticed is the difference between eating protein now versus fasting? Because there's a lot of conflicting info out there.
There is. And look,
what have you noticed in yourself?
I'm a massive fan of Dr. Stacey Sims, so I've learned a lot of this through her scientific research. So I haven't just based it on my own self, but coming from me, I've noticed that I have more sustained energy. I can now train and surf on the same day and not feel completely depleted and exhausted. So that for me was mind-blowing, because I remember
that was huge, because I remember you saying to me, I think it's just menopause and I'm just going to have to surrender to this.
I'm so tired of being tired. That's where I got to. And then I incorporated more protein into my diet, make sure I had regular sunshine breaks, because we work best in 90-minute sprints or intervals, and then drinking at least 2 liters of water a day. They are the 3 main principles to boosting our energy.
Okay, so you've got this, listeners. The first exercise we're going to give you to do is do a life stock take and be honest, because honesty is where we grow from. I had to be honest with myself. This was not the life I wanted to live. I had to acknowledge the hard. It is hard waking up earlier and drinking more water, or incorporating more protein into your diet, because there's a lot of planning, and I watch you go through that as well.
Choose your hard. Hey?
Choose your hard, because it is harder being stuck.
It's harder being sick, tired, overwhelmed, depleted, crashing,
and lost
in
your own world. So we'll provide this toolkit in the show notes as well. And the benefit of this podcast is we're going to bring in the professionals. We're going to learn with you. So we're going to do different modalities and learn about these wake-up calls. Everyone from Stacey Sims to learn about menopause and the way that the body works, to our therapists.
Oh, yes.
We're going to bring in our husbands. We're going to bring in a psychic, and all of this to learn what the wake-up call is and what the message is, because we all have them, and life is a gift. It either happens for you or to you, and we are choosing that it happens for us to learn and to grow, because we're all humans having this wild experience.
Thank you for opening up and being raw and being vulnerable and being so courageous and sharing the pain, because it's our imperfections that connect us. It's our pain and our struggles that connect us. And I'm just so grateful to be sharing that journey and that adventure with you.
Yeah, well, that pain, a problem shared is a problem halved. And that pain led me to believe that I am worthy. And I am worthy to sit here with a 7-time world champion and share my story, because I know that it relates to everyone, as does yours. So we're going to dig into yours in the episodes to come.
Sure.
So on that note, you've got the toolkit, you've got the life stock take, but I want to encourage you guys to be honest with yourself and call a loved one and have a wake-up call moment with them. What was something that was reflected back to you in today's episode that you want to share? Maybe it's a shame story. Maybe it's an epiphany or an aha moment that you got from today's episode, because the number one predictor of happiness and longevity is connection with others, but deep, soulful connection. So call a loved one and have a conversation. That's my tip today. What's yours?
Well, look, we provide a bucket load of tools and tips in our book and in our courses.
And we did just now.
Yeah, we did. And if I was to be asked, what's the one habit or tip that I would encourage everyone to do and everyone to hold on to? And it's really hard to even narrow it down to one. But I'm a silent sufferer, which is an extension of the way I was treated in childhood. If I screwed up, made a mistake, hurt myself, get her a bloody wheelchair, she'll be right. It was a tough love environment. So I have very little compassion for myself, especially when I either hurt myself or screw up. And that now results in heightened levels of anxiety, increased levels of depression or moments of depression, and I retreat from the world. And that's not who I am, and it's not who I want to be.
No.
So my number one habit for when I'm going through troublesome times or when I'm going through moments where I can't make sense of it is drawing my emotions. Now I have one here.
Picasso, what have you got?
Yeah, I'm no Picasso. But this is a recent drawing from an experience that I had in April 2025, where I was competing at a surf event for my local board riders club, freshwater board riders, and I performed extremely poorly. And we talked a little bit in this episode about expectations, and I put enormous amount of expectations on myself to perform at the best of my ability because I expect myself to score the most amount of points.
Well, you're a world champion. Of course you should.
Exactly.
I mean, you're a 7-time world champion.
Exactly. There are no other 7-time world champions competing.
No, there's not.
Actually, I don't know if there was any other world champions competing. Anyway, and instead of listening and tuning in to what my intuition was telling me, I overrode it. Pardon the pun. But I overrode it and I started going down into this rabbit hole. So when I came up, long story short, I performed very badly. I scored 3 points out of 10 in both heats. Just did not.
What's your average score, Ryan?
6 to 7, sometimes 8. So I have the expectation to score well. I then went into a spiraling state of depression because I started telling myself all of these really crazy stories about how I'd let my team down, how I let myself down, how they're never going to want me to surf for them again. And instead of just staying stuck in the narrative and tuning into this radio station that was increasingly putting me under pressure and putting me into a dark place, I grabbed my crayons and I just drew everything that was in my thoughts.
You drew your pain away.
And once I drew my thoughts, it actually helped me make sense of them. I actually had some clarity around them as opposed to just staying stuck in the severity of them and magnifying them and taking the time to unpack them allows me to go, Oh, yeah, that's exactly what was going on. I was overthinking it. I put pressure on myself, which then makes me feel brokenhearted. And now the team are never going to want me to have a next time. Like, am I ever going to have a next time? And then once I did that, I then felt detached from them.
Yeah.
I was able to go, oh, okay, that is how I feel. So how do I want to feel now?
And what is beautiful about what you've done there is you've stopped your brain rethinking this over and over and over again.
Oh, yes.
And you've paused those neural pathways to recreate new ones.
Yeah.
So what is your new story? Because it is equally as important to get out the bad and then rewire your brain, because your brain can change at any time.
Yeah.
So what did you do? What was your new story?
My new story, as opposed to the old story was I'm not good enough. The new story is I literally just chose the wrong board. And my intuition was saying, ride the whiteboard, ride the whiteboard. I'm like, no, I want to ride the blackboard. The blackboard goes way better. But no, you just needed to ride the whiteboard. And so instead of telling myself like, oh, gee, you used to have it. Wow, 7 times world champion. Well, that sounded like a fluke. What happened to you?
But I've got some homework for you.
Okay.
Can you redraw the new story?
Oh, yes.
Because it is equally as important to reframe positivity, because now you'll look for the positive everywhere.
Yeah.
If that's just all that's stuck in your brain, that's all you'll see next time, just because your brain has created that pathway.
Okay.
So we'll bring it back.
Yeah. In later episodes.
In later episodes, we'll hear how you've rewired it, and then you'll start seeing it. It's like red elephant.
Ooh.
Don't see a red elephant.
I can only see a red elephant right now.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that tool. It is a wonderful practice for you to do with kids, with loved ones, at the family dinner table. We do it all the time. When we are in burnout, and I know certainly for me, when I was broken, it was so hard for me to find a way out. And I couldn't believe that these tools that we deliver and teach every day, they were so simple, but I just didn't believe that I could do them and it would make any change.
Is that because we overcomplicate health and well-being?
I think when you're so burnt out, if someone said to me, just go outside and take 5-minute sunshine break, that is the last thing that I needed to hear.
It's like telling someone who's really angry to calm down.
Yeah, calm down. But when you have this tool and someone asks you what's something you can do for yourself right now, it gives you agency and control in that moment. And I feel like that has been the biggest lesson in this journey. And that story that you've heard is I was corporate burnt out Tess who went from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting to back to back to back because I had to keep going. Productivity was my performance indicator, not how I was showing up every day. And when I made that nuanced switch, I believed that taking rest, prioritizing myself, drinking more water, these tiny tools that we're teaching you, I believed that they could make a difference in my life. And I went and did them and they did. And I was like, is it that simple? But the truth is it's all layered on top of each other. It's a sum of all parts, but there is nothing better than a calm and quiet mind. So when you are fuzzy, these tools are your interceptor to go out, to recharge, to come back more clear, more purposeful, and less in fight or flight. And from that, when you do these tools, you show up more connected. You're more present with loved ones. You're able to sit at the table without thinking about the million emails and to-do lists. And yes, you can still go there, but you're able to come back to the laughter and the joy in the moment. And that to me is the success of this work, is being more present, calm, and connected in yourself. And yes, a sunshine break can do that for you.
100%. I feel that the point I wish to add to that as well is doing these things is one thing, and it's the action that will establish the change, but it's actually the connection with how it makes you feel that will inspire you to keep doing it. So going and drinking more water, don't just drink it haphazardly or mindlessly. Like, drink it with intention and notice how it makes you feel, because if you feel an improvement, that's actually what will inspire you to keep going.
Yeah.
And if you feel an improvement after taking that 5-minute sunshine break, that'll inspire you to take another one tomorrow. So these tools may seem really simple, but they're actually really powerful.
Yeah. And that is the truth of this, is to become the chief energy officer of your life. You're monitoring how things make you feel. You're monitoring your energy, making sure it's not leaking, making sure that you're showing up the best for yourself. And that was a big switch for me. It's like, actually, the only person that matters right now is me and my energy. And then I can lead with love and, run a successful business from a really grounded sense of energy, and it does flow.
Yeah.
So be the chief energy officer of your life, and here's some tools to help you.
One thing I'd like to add is that we're human beings too.
Really?
Yeah.
We're human beings, not human doings.
Exactly. But we don't always get it right. You know, we have the toolkit and it helps, but sometimes we just neglect ourselves and neglect that and forget that these things are quite simple. So here's the toolkit that can help you get the best out of your life.
From us to you, we trust that you enjoyed today's episode. If you have any questions, please email us at wakeup@awakeacademy.com.au, and we will see you in the next episode or in the Awake Collective.
Toodles!
Bye!
And that's a wrap for today's episode. We'll be dropping a new one every Monday.
If you want to hear more about us, check us out on awakeacademy.com.au or leave a comment or a review because it really does help us. And in the show notes is everything you learnt today.
And if you want to work with us more, join us at the Awake Collective. The link is in the show notes. We'll see you next week. Toodles!